The time is 1:15. Here's the news edited by Catherine Pereira, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. Litro brings down LP gas prices. The President says it's time to leverage the potential of digital technologies. Easter tax appeal against former IGP's acquittal taken up in court. President Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the historic Kathargamar premises and obtained the blessings of Mahasangha. Gazette notification issued regarding registered stocks and securities. In foreign news, Putin to address meeting chaired by Indian Prime Minister. Local news in detail. Litro Gas Lanka has slashed the prices of domestic liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) cylinders with effect from midnight today. Accordingly, the price of a 12.5 kg cylinder of LP gas now stands below 3,000 rupees for the first time in months. The chairman of the Litro Gas Company, Mudita Perez, said, addressing a special media briefing this morning. With the reduction, the price of 12.5 kg cylinder dropped to 2,982 rupees, and the price of a 5 kg cylinder dropped to 1,198 rupees, while the new price of the 2.3 kg cylinder is 561 rupees. The new price will be effective from midnight today, according to the chairman of Litro Gas Company. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has highlighted that it is time to leverage the potential of digital technologies to drive Sri Lanka forward. Speaking on the resilience and determination demonstrated by the Sri Lankans in the face of the unprecedented crisis, the head of state noted that it is time to use the potential of modern technology to further propel Sri Lanka, transforming the country into a prominent global player in the digital marketing industry. President Wickremesinghe made these remarks in a message to the International Digital Marketing Summit, the President's media division reported. President Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the historic Kathargamar premises and engaged in religious activities. He met the chief incumbent of the Kirivehera, Venerable Kobawaka Dammendra Nayaka Thera, and obtained the blessings from the Thera. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has placed the Sadhatuka Karandua on the Kandula Hastiraja, commencing the final day of the Kathargamar annual SLBC yesterday. He witnessed the final prayer of the SL festival. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, former Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundar was present for the Supreme Court today, when a petition filed against his acquittal over the 2019 Easter Sunday terror attacks was taken up in court. An appeal was filed by Attorney General seeking the dismissal of an order issued by the Colombo High Court on 18 February 2022, acquitting the former IGP in the case against him over criminal negligence of duty by failing to prevent the 2019 attacks, despite receiving sufficient intelligence information beforehand. Accordingly, the relevant petition was heard before a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court, chaired by Justice Preeti Padma Surasena this morning. UMP says that it is sad to note that some groups are trying to disrupt the program initiated by the President to rescue the country from the economic crisis. Participating in a media briefing held at the Sirikota, parliamentarian Vajira Abhivardhana said that the President held discussions in his tour to Japan and Britain to rescue the country from the bankruptcy of the country. The President had taken several important decisions to minimize corruption in the country by presenting a strong anti-corruption bill to the Parliament and the establishment of Parliamentary Budget Office. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
An extraordinary Gazette notification containing several orders regarding registered stocks and securities has been issued by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as the Minister in charge of the subject of the finance, economic stabilization and national policies. President Ranil Wickremesinghe, in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, has issued the Gazette notification under Section 55, read with Section 34 of the Registered Stock and Securities Ordinance, Chapter 420, read with Paragraph 2 of the Article 44 of the Constitution. The President has declared and authorized the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policies and the Registrar of the Public Debt to offer the holders the option of converting or exchanging any stock or securities they are holding by the 28th June 2023. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, it has been requested to renovate the second crossroad of the Mahalakod in Vitakati Road. The people in the area are facing many hardships as the road has not been renovated for many years. This is for the attention of the Secretary to the Tangal Pradesh Sabha. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Putin to address meeting chaired by Indian Prime Minister. Thousands flee Jenin camp as Israeli operation continues. July, supermoon appears brighter than usual in the sky. World news in detail. Russian President Vladimir Putin is to address a global summit for the first time since the Wagner mercenary group staged a mutiny in June. He will join leaders from China, India, Pakistan and 4 Central Asian countries virtually for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit today. India is chairing the summit this year, which is taking place just 2 weeks after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was hosted by US President Joe Biden for a state visit. Regional security, economy, food security, climate change and Afghanistan are some of the issues that are likely to be discussed in the meeting. Israel has launched a large-scale military operation against Palestinian militants in the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. It started with multiple drone strikes and Israel has sent in ground forces, leading to gun battles on the street. Palestinian officials say 9 Palestinians have been killed and hundreds others wounded. The Israel Defense Force IDF said they were striking terrorist infrastructure in the Jenin area. Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Shtayyeh says the heroic Jenin camp is resistant to the occupation and its invasion. Israel's foreign minister says they are not planning to widen the operation to the whole West Bank. The moon has left people gazing at the sky after appearing bright and larger than usual last evening. July's supermoon is appearing full for up to 3 days, according to NASA. Known as the buck moon, it is closer than normal in its orbit around the Earth. This is because the moon's orbit is not a perfect circle due to the Earth's gravitational pull. Instead, it is elliptical, like an elongated circle or oval. Because of this, there are times in the moon's 27.32-day orbit when it is closer to Earth and other times when it is further away. A supermoon happens when the moon is at the closest point to Earth in its orbit and also it is full moon phase. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Putin to address a meeting chaired by Indian Prime Minister. Thousands flee Jenin camp as Israeli operation continues. July's supermoon appears brighter than usual in the sky. That ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Deshakti Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Veeraketiya Bodayala Mahavava will be renovated. 20 million rupees has been allocated in this regard. The project will be implemented by the Veeraketiya Office of the Irrigation Department. Water supply will be provided to the 350 acres of paddy land by this project. That ends Development News.
Vacancies for women from Deshakti Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salary starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches, Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Moving on to sports news, the T20 match between Sri Lanka and New Zealand women teams will be held on the 8th of this month at the P. Sara Oval Stadium in Colombo. 3 T20 matches are to be played between the two nations. Sri Lanka women team won the one-day international tournament by winning 2-1 against the New Zealand women. That ends sports news.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lankan stocks urged as markets reopened post a 3-day holiday after a plan to revamp domestic debt eased concern over financial security stability. The Colombo All-Share Index claimed as much as 4.7%, its biggest gain in more than a year. The Sri Lankan rupee advanced 0.2% to 306 rupees and 24 cents per dollar. The island nation mostly spared local commercial banks in its blueprint unveiled last week to protect the economy while striking a balance between domestic creditors and foreign bondholders. That ends Business News.
Business News sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගීන හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන friendship එක මෙන්න
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news.
Treasury bills valued at 140 million rupees will be auctioned. The central bank said that the relevant auction will be conducted tomorrow. These bills will be issued measuring on 91, 182 and 364 days. It can be purchased by primary dealers and from licensed commercial banks. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
Prevailing showery condition over the southwestern part of the island is expected to continue. Showers will occur at times in western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in Gol and Mathura districts. Heavy showers above 100 mm are likely at some places in the Sabaragamuwa province and in Kandy and Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 mm are likely at some places in the western province and in Gol and Mathura districts. Few showers are likely in the northern province. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in Uva province and in Ampara and Batiklo districts during the evening or night. Fairly strong winds, about 40 to 45 km per hour, can be expected at times in western slopes of the Central Hills, North Central Province, and in Putlam, Hambantota, and Trincomalee districts. That ends weather report. To wrap up the midday news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Litro brings down LP gas prices. The President says it's time to leverage the potential of digital technologies. Easter tax appeal against former IGP acquittal taken up in court today. President Ranil Wickremesinghe visited the historic Katharagama premises and obtained the blessings of Mahasangha. Gazette notification issued regarding registered stocks and securities. In foreign news, Putin to address a meeting chaired by Indian Prime Minister. With that, we bring to an end the afternoon news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka. The time is exactly 30 minutes down 1 o'clock. Good afternoon.